So the story on this is that the Shumways, who are, what's their official title on this?
WSH
WSH.
properties?
Came to the city, I want to say it's been 9 or 10 months ago, and said, we'd really like to do a hotel project in your community. And they came and met with me and they said, we've been looking at land all over, publicly held and privately held. Do you have any suggestions about where a location might make sense? And I said, yeah, there are a few in town, and the city actually owns one that you might want to look at. And it's
Okay, so there's the aerial map.
the Montezuma and Sheldon site. Okay, so,
I'm running.
Wait,
You wanna get the cup out of
it's
there?
okay, it's being used.
It's
Can't
useful.
leave it.
Oh, my cup's face.
so the Shumways came and talked to us about a potential project. And we said, we have this piece of property at Montezuma and Sheldon that's sat fallow for however many years. There was a time, I believe, where there was a thought about building a fire station. And one of the things that was, some of it's in the floodplain or the flood impact zone, and it was gonna be cost prohibitive, so it's just sort of sat there. And you guys know too that part of our Granite Creek Corridor initiative is to revitalize the entire corridor in downtown, specifically from Granite Creek Park to Elgato Azul. What's the intersection there? You guys know what I'm
Goodwin.
talking about? Goodwin. That I really think that is a terrific asset to have water running through the desert and a trail, and if that could be a utilized pedestrian corridor, I think it could clean up the area and make really nice, patio dining and the like. So with that in mind, we talked to the Shumways about this piece of property, and they were extremely intrigued about it because of its history. And as you can see from the schematic, they're gonna tie in, and part of the deal points is the railroad trestle. And they wanted it to look a little bit railroady, brick and have iron and the like. And so the way it's gonna be is their second floor patio and pool will be at the same level as the railroad trestle. So you'll be able to walk, and there'll be public access to this.
So the trestle will stay.
Yep, and he's gonna help refurb it. He's gonna pay 3/4 of the cost for the refurbishment.
And what is the cost?
We haven't got a number on it yet, but the nice thing is it's structurally sound, it's just aesthetically not very pleasing and needs to be opened up.
So it'll be refurbished so people can walk
Yep.
across it.
And does the city own the trestle?
City owns the trestle.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a joint use of the trestle, and we wanna link it to the Sam Hill Hardware. Right now, Prescott College owns the Seven Wheel Hardware, and that's an underutilized asset because the neighborhood is not great. But it's a beautiful building. I don't know if you guys have been in there, and we want to find ways to link what's going to go on here with what's going on there. But obviously, that has to be something that has to be worked out with Prescott College.
Right.
And also the community gardens right over there,
Mhm.
right? Does that
Okay,
stay?
let me show you that. Yeah, that is north of this. This is not a great map, but so one of the things we've talked about with the Shumways is the community garden and this whole area becoming a better, nicer public park.
Mhm.
So part of the deal with the Shumways is they're gonna do some assists with us to bring this, flatten this to some extent, but preserve the trees, include the community garden, but make this a area that for when the courthouse feels like there are too many events, that we can have a second place to have a community meeting place.
And that's where these guys, what is this where Grant and?
Grant's over here.
Oh, over here.
Right.
So he was talking about, in his presentation, about a farmer's market, is that
We've
right
talked
here?
about that too. I haven't had any dialogues yet with the farmer's market, but what we'd like to do is try to bring a lot of events like the farmer's market to this area, because I think this area is ripe for revitalization.
So the Shumways, is it in here what their names are and where they're from?
Stephen and Shane Shumway.
Stephen and Shane.
So one of the questions I have is what about parking for the hotel?
Okay, the parking for the hotel is gonna be, the existing parking lot stays. The building is actually gonna go here, and it'll side face Montezuma. So
Right.
he's gonna keep the lot, and then this area, this rectangular shape, is gonna be a joint use park for the park and for overflow parking for his hotel.
Okay, so now the Restoration Church that's there, that's gonna stay, that's not gonna be affected?
Nobody's going out, yeah.
Okay. And one of the other questions I had in looking through the lease is that they aren't going to start paying their lease payment until the hotel is ready for occupation. So they'll get, how long do they expect?
They wanna break ground in February.
Okay,
So we're within, how many months is that? 7, 8, 9 months from.
well,
when
but
that
then
should
once they break, because the lease still won't start.
be. I think they're thinking a year construction.
Okay, so,
And it's a Hilton Garden, is that right?
Yep, Hilton Garden Inn.
So, when they came to you, you said that was about when?
9, 10, 12 months ago, I don't remember.
What made you think of this rather than private property somewhere?
Well, I mean, they had looked at private property and they'd become frustrated with some of the locations, and they were really looking for something that could help change the dynamics of downtown. And I've always felt like that this train trestle and Sam Hill Hardware were unique assets that had been underutilized, and that if we could find a private partner to do something like this, you're really talking about a revitalization of an area downtown that's been neglected for a while. And the Shumways and their track record, they built, and we could pull it up if you want, it's, they built, that's it,
Oh, wow, that's neat.
Residence Inn, that's what
Wow.
they did in Marion.
So,
So, the look and feel is not much different than this.
so I'm sure they did their market studies and everything, but, you know, you were just talking about how the younger demographics kind of going towards
Yeah.
more the VRBOs and stuff. Is there a need in downtown?
Yeah,
Prescott for
we're
that?
at, I think you'd have to talk to John Heine, but 80% occupancies, or, you know, there's some point where the hoteliers think that there's a need and a necessity, and we've had a lot of interest in hotels,
Okay.
so. So I think this is a cool project for you.
Would they buy the trestle also, or would that stay?
No, we'll always own the trestle. And I'm really interested, they're also, you know, the park that I've talked about, we've had some ideas about what it's gonna look like. We've even talked about having a splash pad. If we do a splash pad, they're willing to pay half the cost. They want the park and their hotel and the trestle to be a seamless transition, that you feel like you're all part of a campus,
mm-hmm.
and that they're gonna be partners in all those things with us.
How much money are they contributing?
We're still working out, their landscape architect is designing all of it to make sure the parking lot, the hotel, and the park all look the same, and we don't know how much a lot of those are, I think some of those are yet to be determined.
So if their landscape architect is doing that, then they're paying for that. Now, isn't there that APS thing down
There
there?
is, and I'm hoping that that happens sooner rather than later too, that, you know, that APS is moving their substation to right behind the Sam Hill. And you could say that APS is moving things, and that they're and because they've consolidated out of the airport, they're interested in finding a good use for that.
Okay.
And then you could talk to them about what they're gonna do with it.
Okay.
But I think all these things work well together, right? If you have connectivity and Greenway and this park and what we're doing on the Granite Creek Trail revitalization, you really can make a dramatic change in downtown Prescott.